Oh, you are awake.
Well then, you need to go to your father and take him to vote.
Yeah, that is right! Odin has returned and you must kill him! Yes, you need to go to the center of the galaxy and reset the game. Oh, wait, wrong game!
Making questionable thought of Fallout 4 and completely shitting the bed with 76, Bethesda finally decided to slop out another copy-paste job. I mean, release a totally original RPG. Starfield is the biggest, most advanced game yet, and somehow it's still Fallout and Skyrim clone. I would love to talk about the gameplay and what I liked in it. I would love to complain about the fuck-ups. I mean, Bethesda's casual Mondays. But it seems that fanboys on all sides decided to collectively ruin the game by constantly comparing Starfield to everything else. Oh, the Starfield's Fallout 4. Oh, Starfield is a Skyrim. Oh, Starfield's a pizza. Oh, Starfield's a tampon. Oh, Starfield's twice-used heroin needle. And also a little bit of No Man's Sky. Okay, you fucks. You want me to compare? Fine, I'll beat this dead horse the wrong way. Now where are the genitals? As the supreme arbiter of reality, the great and powerful TheYamiks decrees. This is stupid. Bethesda fans are fine as long as you mention Fallout or Elder Scrolls in the same sentence as Bethesda's latest bodily excretion, but mention No Man's Sky and all hell breaks loose. Yeah, Starfield's not a sim. No Man's Sky is not an RPG. You can't compare these games. Okay, I really want to know, how is No Man's Sky not an RPG? For that matter, what the fuck is an RPG? As far as I can tell, a role-playing game is just a game where you role-play as a character. Yeah, come to think of it, by that description, Doom Eternal is a very cool RPG too. Do you see how loose the terminology here is? Now, of course, I'm being rather glib here, but say something like a Skyrim and a Witcher 3 are very similar games. And so is No Man's Sky and Starfield, to a certain extent. So, by all means, embarrass yourselves and explain what an RPG even means in the comments. Boy, do I love reading some mental contortions some people make to try and put down a game, or to try and invalidate something. Moving on. So, visually Starfield looks okay. Well, as long as you look at it in the right light from the right angle. Otherwise... planets look fairly well done, when on foot. Yep, this totally doesn't look like No Man's Sky at all, right? However, I noticed something very odd, and like seeing your grandma pleasuring herself with your toy rocket, you can't unsee it. I'm talking about the cutscenes, the character scenes. Whatever the fuck Bethesda calls talking with the characters. You go up to a character, the game violently grabs your face and tears it off along with the camera and positions it in optimal front-facing profile distance. This would be mildly okay if it didn't happen every single time at every opportunity. And when it's multiple characters talking in the same scene, it becomes a confounding clusterfuck.
Can't blame me for trying, right? I mean, I still haven't given up on getting Sarah to re-enlist.
It's a game we play. He asks, I say no.
Here's what I got for you two.
It's like Bethesda realized, nah, animations are really hard to do, so I'm not gonna bother. Because I don't think any of the characters have more facial animations than a cinder block. Even Skyrim had more dynamic character interactions, and that's saying something. The whole game is like this, not a single animation of characters doing really something in these scenes. Instead, at most, we got this.
Can do that. None of them. This proves
Easy, girl. Breathe. You'll have a heart attack.
Jesus fuck dancing rotting Christ on Bethesda's Shrine of Dremora. It's like multi-million-dollar companies can't even manage to hire some animators. Oh, wait.
This conversation's starting to bore me. Humour me, will ya? This particular piece of ass, out of all of them, why? She wasn't even that good. She was hot, I'll give you that. But for all the delusions of grandeur, she was nothing more than a basic whore. And like...
the most action you'll get in these character scenes will be Vulcan talk, and I'm not kidding. I'm 40 hours in, and I haven't found more interesting scene than this.
Where's Sam?
He's gone. We
We need to talk about
That's the level of animation detail. Now, knowing what I know about Bethesda, the FPS gameplay is like the red-headed stepchild that needs crutches made of hypodermic needles called VATS. So my expectation for the pew-pews was rock bottom. But then, something happened. Holy shit, a miracle has happened. Bethesda made an okay shooter that's even fun? No, seriously, movement is snappy and responsive, shooting feels adequate. For the first time, I can say, Bethesda, you did an okay job! In fact, it is my favorite part of the game. Except every enemy is a goddamn tank. This game is a massive bullet sponge, no matter the difficulty. And it sadly gets worse, cause not only it's not fun to blast a dude multiple times in the face with a 50 cal sniper rounds, but the sponginess ruins stealth. Oh, you want to quickly take out enemies around the base or something with the suppressed sniper, like a stealth archer in Skyrim? Well, you hit the target with most powerful weapon you got, and the guy barely feels it. And now, everyone's alerted. Well, unless you're far enough that their vision does not reach you. Yeah, this is very realistic and definitely roleplay. And totally not broken. But there is one thing that's really hard to screw up with large budget games, and that's sound and music. Gunshots, for example, don't feel like rattling broken teeth in a plastic jar. Every character has good voice acting, despite some of it seeming to be re-recorded.
Instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. I was also told the president wants us to get you into the armistice. All right, we'll start at the beginning.
Nah, it's funny, so let's just blame COVID on this one. And best of all, music invokes that exploratory theme of the game. However, I decided to listen to the OST alone. Yeah, I don't know. This kind of sounds boring. Now let's take our razor spike dildo bat and turn our gaze to the RPG bullshit. Oh, look, pronouns. Moving on. Now, can I ask, what the fuck is this?
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
You need to unlock a skill to pickpocket? And you need a skill to use jetpacks? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, but don't worry, you don't need skill to use persuasion. What is this design? Oh, but no, you need a skill to bribe someone as well. Jesus fucking Christ, what is this skill tree? Now, of course, I could compare this to Skyrim again and again, but realistically, at the end of the day, this simply feels like an artificial level dumping so you grind more and manage to do less with your gameplay. 40 hours in, and I'm only level 29. Well, at the same time, crafting gun mods gives you XP. 1 XP. 1 fucking XP. God fucking damn it! From all the things to copy from Space Sims, they choose to copy the grind! Do you see how stingy and artificial this is? They made the game so grindy just so you have something to aim for in this supermassive barren open world. Oh, and how could I forget? In Skyrim, for example, you picked up a quest and could choose, if you really wanted to, activate all of their markers. So you could technically go from town to town just completing every single thing. Guess what? In Starfield, you can activate only one fucking quest marker at a time. Oh, and speaking of regression and incompetence, do you know weight limits? Do you know encumbrance? And do you know stamina mechanics? Well, guess what? If you're comparing shit, then in Skyrim and Fallout, you could carry a certain weight of stuff and sprint while under that weight. Now, once you reach that limit, your character barely moves at all. In Starfield, there's no such limit. 1,000 mass, 2,000 mass, over 9,000 mass. You can still move and be just as fast and even sprint. What's the penalty? Well, you exhaust yourself a little bit sooner. And once you reach that limit, you start losing health. But you cannot die from this. Even your ship will fly when encumbered. So, you know what's gonna happen next. So this skill just became utterly useless. Did anyone playtest this? And my god, comparing this stupidity to Stalker would feel like punching down at this point. So let's just move on. Story. Now granted, Bethesda has never really had good main story quests for their games. Like, never. Fallout 3 was insulting, Skyrim was simple and forgettable, Fallout 4 was wet lore-breaking fart, and Fallout 76 can fucking die. So for Starfield, the bar was set very low. And today the bar shan't move an inch. Since I won't spoil anything, the story of the game deals with exploration and discovery themes about our universe. And while there were interesting twists and turns here and there, the ultimate conclusion is just as boring as Skyrim. Well, then again, at least in Skyrim you knew, Alduin, big bad Dargan. Now go kill the big bad Dargan. Simple, right? Oh no! Oh no! Skyrim. Oh, this is great. Now in Starfield, on the other hand, we had this. In your story, the pilgrim contemplates infinitum addendum. This must mean something.
Yes, what he added to infinity. Maybe that points to a name. If we're looking for his resting place, we'd need to know the name of the star system, wouldn't we? We have something that could be coordinates, something that could point to a planet in the system. But what's the name of the system? Infinitum addendum. What if we break down the parts? No systems named finite or add. That just leaves in and dum. The second planet in Indum.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you for this lazy bullshit writing! You want a great example of how stupid this is? Let's take, for example, we breathe air, right? And then the air is made out of nitrogen and oxygen. Oxygen sounds like oxycodone, right? And drug users use oxycodone, right? And they also wear clothes, right? And clothes they warm us, right? So basically, breathing is heat.
Pepe Sylvia, look in the mail. Well, this whole box is Pepe Sylvia!
That's how you would parody a fucking story, not make it serious! So, in a word, Starfield's quest for discovery and exploration, the starry-eyed journey for more knowledge and truth, ends up being as... And when it comes to characters themselves, they're massive exposition and lore dumpers, so much that they might need some diapers. Droning on and on about events that most often you as a player don't have a reason to care about. You know, there is this saying, brevity is the soul of wit, as well as show, don't tell, Bethesda. Remember those? Oh, and if you want a comparison, well, Cyberpunk has the same problem as this game had. Illusion of choice. Basically, most of the time your choices don't matter, yet the game presents it as if it does. For example, here you are in front of these people asking access to some terramorph data, and you can technically say, oh no, everything's fine, don't worry about it, and basically sabotage the reason you are there in the first place. Oh, but then... So whatever you say there was meaningless. Do you feel like you're role-playing your character? Because I sure didn't. So the story is vapid and filled with boring tropes to a point that I much rather rewatch Matrix, and that includes its sequels, if I want real sci-fi. But it's not bad, just, again, boring. But hey, that's how most Bethesda games go. The real reason we play their games is spectacular open worlds. This is the biggest open world they made, and it's true that screwing around in it is pretty good. Even if there are shitty quests, at least some of them, or parts of them, are fun. To be a space pilot captain in the universe of unknown and piloting your way through it. I applaud Bethesda for trying to introduce their fans to space sims, and that's a very loose term as well. I absolutely love that you can board enemy ships and loot them, take them, steal them, and then sell them. Or perhaps just pirating some stuff, as long as you are convincing. building your own spaceship, or if you have absolutely no imagination, like those Star Wars fanboys, build a Millennium Falcon or some other disgusting thing. Even base construction, something I loathed in Fallout 3, is made much better here. It's pretty cool to see those random settlements pop up here and there, or events happening when you're walking on planets, just like you did in Fallout or Skyrim as you walked the road, is refreshing once more. However, Starfield also feels like Bethesda's smallest game. I mean, the fact alone that when you land on a planet, you load into a map with invisible walls at the borders, and you need to go back to your ship or use your ship to teleport to the next area. While, say, in Skyrim or Fallout, you could literally roam the whole map, and only when you needed to enter, say, a city or a dungeon, then you needed to load in something. And there we go. Fast travel to ship, open planet. Hold on, what? Oh, I can't go further? Oh my god, there's a literal invisible wall. Yep, that's right. It's time for us to talk about the... Holy shit, this game is one giant loading screen simulator. Enter a building, loading screen. Enter a cave, loading screen. Travel to a planet, loading screen. Land on a planet, loading screen. Exit a ship, loading screen. Games like Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, and especially No Man's Sky have showcased just how immersive and amazing spaceflight can be if you just don't interrupt the player every 10 seconds.
This is gonna be insane, Joe. I have never seen a game that's like, you see that? Let's go there. If we can go there, I am gonna flip the fuck out.
And Joe blasted off. It was one of the coolest experiences I've had this year to realize, holy shit, we can actually go there.
And yet Starfield feels so disjointed. Now let me demonstrate with a simple quest.
Everyone always wants to know what we're up to. Usual courier's been less than reliable lately. So if you could get this slate where it needs to go, that would help us. And put a few credits in your pocket.
Excellent. I've been waiting for this. Thank you.
This much gameplay disruption I've not seen since mobile gaming. And worst of all, immersion gets ejected faster than diarrhea constipation. Why the fuck is there need to load a single room shops? What the fuck, Bethesda? Why are you still using this garbage piece of shit creation engine? Have you not learned about this technology called asset streaming? You're no longer playing as a space pirate piloting a spaceship or an explorer seeing what's out there in the space. You're the menu man, clicking menus all day long. Even EVE Online has more immersion than Starfield at this rate. And as a result, Starfield feels like the smallest Bethesda game they've ever made. And yes, including Elder Scrolls Arena. And of course this leads us to performance. You've probably seen people say that, this game runs smooth. Oh, it's so smooth. Something's off. Oh, I see what's going on. So, do you see anything missing from this particular picture? Well, if you're a console peasant, let me enlighten you. Texture quality, mesh complexity, anti-aliasing, FOV, and other settings sliders are missing. While at the same time, you have 3 fucking settings for lighting. I set the game to ultra settings, 40-45 FPS. Set the game to low, 65 at most. What the fuck? And then I look up the frame times. I see what's going on. Now, what I suspect is going on is the engine is automatically adjusting some of the settings to target specifically 60 FPS. Now, this would explain why the game looks like ass outdoors, like in New Atlantis, and yet indoors it's crisp clear. If you turn off your brain and trust Bethesda of all developers to give you quality performance, well, you'll be sorely disappointed, and so am I today. Now, hiding settings and adjusting performance without the user's knowledge, to mask the bad performance and optimization, to compensate without the user's knowledge and agreement. Well, that kinda reminds me of this little scandal that Volkswagen got into a little while back. I do want to turn everything to low, I do want to disable anti-aliasing, and I do want the smeary bullshittery of FSR or DLSS off as well. I want to see the game in its constant visual quality. But then Mr. Howard makes a statement like this.
I asked our audience, what would you ask Todd? Big question from many. Why did you not optimize this game for PC?
We did. It's running great. It is a next-gen PC game. We really do push the technology, so you may need to upgrade your PC for this game, but it's got a lot of great stuff going on in it, and the fans are responding awesome.
Do I need to even point it out? So, the performance. No, it's not good, it's not okay. But hey, maybe that's too much to ask. Well, as long as you're getting 60 FPS, we'll gobble it up. Yeah, there goes our standards. But there is one positive thing. Either it's me or there's some weird disturbance in the force, because for a Bethesda game, there's oddly far too few bugs. Is this really the most bug-free Bethesda game? No, I'm serious. Sure, a few simple things like spazzing ragdolls, breakdancing, or simple things here and there do happen, but no real game-breaking things. So, I guess bravo, Bethesda, apparently you can make a game that's adequate. About the damn time too. In the end, maybe it sounds like I'm criticizing the game more than I'm praising it. Sure, that's my job, and a pleasure. Still, it is an open world like any other Bethesda game, so if you want to just gobble it up, go for it. But somehow, random encounters you find are just more soda stuffing in this turkey. Fetch quests are everywhere, and even the serious side or main quests devolve into this a lot. Characters constantly spout exorbitant and boring dialogue with monotone and barely expressive faces, which leads a lot of game stories and quests to be just as boring. The skill tree is a fucking joke, stealth is ruined by the bullet sponge enemies, the whole game drips XP in such small quantities it feels intentionally grindy, game's engine settings seem to be locked down to mask the bad optimization by smudging your screen with smeared pixels and overzealous anti-aliasing. Overall, there's so much padding in this massive open world game that Todd Howard probably took up a job as a competitive matchmaker. And in many ways, Bethesda seems to be regressing harder than 4chan users. Character scenes basically have no animations, there are no weight limits, shopkeepers will just stand around and not look what you're doing in the back room. You can only activate one quest marker at a time, and hell, there's no swimming even. So now, as I look back at Cyberpunk, Jesus, that game looks like a masterpiece of storytelling and presentation in comparison. So much character, so much fun and interesting moments. While Starfield in turn has taken one of its older games and instead of adding to them, removed even the mild amounts of effort. It's just more slop for die-hard fans. But as one myself, well, at least for Skyrim, I'm disappointed that that game, over a decade ago, was more immersive, interesting, filled with character, and weirdly had way more quality of life features than this. Now, at least I can say that I really like FPS mechanics, and yet that's ruined by the bullet sponge in turn. And let's not even mention the loading screens and what it does to immersion overall. It's just sad. There's so much good potential here, and yet it's ruined by the creation engine so hard. That's Starfield. It's definitely not bad, but if I had to choose between this and No Man's Sky, I'd probably go play Cyberpunk again. Starfield has that open world, there's loads to do, and I can't deny that as an open world alone, it's a way better game. Still, I find Fallout 4 to have more character in it. The world is a lot more interesting, and not because of Fallout franchise or the lore. Starfield is okay as a Bethesda game and okay as a game overall, but as a game with exploration themes and discovery, with spacey ships, sadly, I don't feel like I'm a space captain because of those loading screens, something that even the kiddie cartoon No Man's Sky managed to accomplish. And if you're telling me that spaceships and piloting a ship was never a focus, why put in so many features and not just relegate it to a mini game? So, how could you fuck that up? And there you go, that's Starfield. Now, overall, remember, this is not a small company. 300 million, in fact, actually over 300 million in budget for the game, and you can do less than Cyberpunk did with animations at the very least? Are you serious right now? And remember, this game is focusing on the story, on the characters, on the role-playing part of things, and yet it does the bare minimum that, well, honestly speaking, their past two Elder Scrolls games did. It's sad. It's sad to see, and it's just... Why? How could you regress this much? On the other hand, FPS definitely has improved, and that's so nice to see. But bullet sponge and of course the tech tree or the skill tree itself, well, there's a lot to do, a lot to make, a lot to investigate and, well, examine. I basically just glanced over this game, so expect a hypercritical review, which is gonna be a really long one. But for now, these are the basic thoughts, if you will. So, hopefully you enjoyed, and if you did, well, check out the Patreon, support the content I make, and definitely subscribe and all the other good stuff, right? For now, I'm gonna lay down, because editing this for 3 days,